Good morning, y'all. Happy Thursday. We are almost done this week, and I pray that you have the best Thursday ever. You got this. You got it. Now, let's get into our devotional today, which is not out of a usual devotional that I read from, but this was too good to pass up, so we're going to go with it. And I may not pronounce all of the names of the places correctly and all of that, and that's okay. But today's devotional is saying yes by faith. Okay, and we're going to be in Numbers 14:9, which reads, "The Lord is with us." So the devotional goes on to read, "When asked if I'd accept a new responsibility at work, I wanted to say no. I thought of the challenges and felt inadequate to handle them. But as I prayed and sought guidance from the Lord, Scripture, and other believers, I realized God was calling me to say yes. Through the scriptures, I was also reassured of his help, so I accepted the task, but still with some dread. I see myself in the Israelites and 10 spies who recoiled from occupying Canaan. They too saw the difficulties, wondering how they would defeat such powerful people in the land and subdued their cities. We seem like grasshoppers, the spies said in Numbers 13:33. The Israelites grumbled, 'Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword?' Numbers 14:3. Only Caleb and Joshua remembered that God had already promised he'd give Canaan to his people. Genesis 17:8 and Numbers 13:2. They drew confidence in his promise, seeing the difficulties ahead in the light of God's presence and help. They had faced the difficulties with his power, his protection, and his resources, not on their own. Numbers 14:6-9. The task God gave me wasn't easy, but he helped me through it. While we won't always be spared from difficulties in his assignments, we can, like Caleb and Joshua, face them, knowing that the Lord is with us. Numbers 14:9. When have you felt inadequate to do a task that you knew God was asking you to do? How do Caleb and Joshua's examples help you? And so before we're done here, I just want to point out two things, okay? So what really spoke to me is that the person writing this not only sought the Lord and scripture before saying yes. I feel that when we feel that we can't handle something, or when something intimidates us, or when we just don't feel like doing something, we're so quick to say no rather than seeking the Lord first, rather than opening our word first, and then most importantly being amongst community where you can call somebody and say, look, this is what it is, but I need some words of wisdom. I don't need to hear what I want to hear, but I need to hear what I need to hear. Okay? And that's why it's so important to be in the midst of community. And then I watched something yesterday, and she said, is your first response prayer or panic? And so it's like looking at these situations, we all face situations that we feel we can't handle, or that we're just not up for the challenge. But what if God is sending us to that challenge and our first response is panic rather than prayer? And I just want to encourage you that starting a new habit is possible. So even if your first response is panic, I mean, we talk about it all the time on here. I'm a drama queen sometimes. So it's very easy for me to jump into panic rather than prayer. But the more that you jump into prayer is the more that you begin a new habit. So I just encourage you to start that new habit. Always seek the Lord first. Always seek your word second. And then always seek wise counsel third. I thought that was really, really good. And then I really like how it said they drew confidence from God's promises, seeing the difficulties ahead in the light of God's presence and help. So they knew that it was going to be difficult, but they knew that the difficulty standing next to God was nothing. They knew that he was the victorious one. They knew that he was the overcomer, that he was the way maker, and he still is today. And so all of your situations that you feel are just too much, or you can't handle, or you can't do it, God is bigger than that. God is bigger than that. So step out of panic, step into prayer. Start seeking him for what he would have you to do. And I just encourage you with this word today that you would apply this to your life, and that you would seek God in a way that you've never sought him before. Y'all have an amazing Thursday.